Most people are waiting for the housing market to return to normal. They think if they just wait for interest rates to drop, they'll get that 3-bedroom suburban house for 2019 prices. They are wrong. From 2026 onwards, the starter home isn't just expensive, it's structurally extinct. Today, we're explaining the 3 economic shifts that just killed the American dream and why the way you live is about to become a monthly subscription. The institutional floor, how the market was rigged. To understand why you can't buy a home, you have to understand who you're bidding against. In 2026 going forward, it's no longer other families. It's Blackstone, Vanguard, and AI-driven real estate investment trusts. Since 2024, these firms have moved from buying luxury apartments to buying entry-level zip codes. They use algorithms to spot a house the second it hits the market, outbid humans with cash, and convert it into a permanent rental. By 2026, they have created an institutional floor. They essentially set the minimum price for an entire city. If a hedge fund is willing to pay $400K for a shack because they know they can rent it out forever, that shack will never cost $300K again. You aren't being priced out by inflation, you're being priced out by a corporate business model that views your shelter as a yield-generating asset. The lifestyle renter trap, the psychology of 2026. We are seeing a massive psychological shift called asset fatigue. After years of high maintenance costs and property taxes, a huge portion of the workforce has simply given up on ownership. Developers have leaned into this by building lifestyle communities. These are 2026's version of the suburbs, entire neighborhoods owned by one company. You pay one monthly fee that covers rent, high-speed Starlink, gym membership, and even car sharing. It's convenient, it's beautiful, and it's a wealth trap. By removing the burden of maintenance, they've also removed your ability to build equity. In 2026, you don't own your life, you license it. We are transitioning from a society of owners to a society of users. The geographic decoupling, the tech solution. So, how does anyone survive this? The answer is decoupling. For 100 years, your house had to be near your job. In 2026, that link is broken. People are fleeing the unaffordable zones and moving into autonomous outposts. We're talking about 3D printed homes in rural dead zones that now have 5G satellite coverage. These homes are 40% cheaper to build and 100% off-grid. The explanation here is simple. Since we can't fix the cities, we are using technology to expand the map. The winners of 2026 aren't those who bought in the suburbs, it's those who built in the digital wilderness. The era of buying a home and sitting on it for 30 years is over. The market has been industrialized, the banks have won, and the only way to stay ahead is to change the way you define home. But don't just take my word for it. If you think the housing crisis is just a natural result of supply and demand, you haven't been looking at the court dockets. As we enter 2026, the masks are coming off. The U.S. Department of Justice and federal courts are currently unearthing 3 specific schemes that prove the market didn't just break, it was rigged. Case 1. Algorithmic price fixing. First, let's talk about RealPage. According to the DOJ, this wasn't just helpful software, it was a digital cartel. In late 2025, the Justice Department settled its massive antitrust suit against RealPage, alleging that they used non-public, sensitive data from competing landlords to coordinate and artificially inflate rents across America. By funneling everyone's data into one brain, they replaced competition with coordination. The result? Rents were pushed to the absolute limit because the software ensured no landlord would blink first and lower their prices. New York has already officially banned these tools, but the damage to your bank account is already done. Second, look at the National Association of Realtors. For decades, the way you bought a home was governed by a mandatory split on commissions, but a landmark federal court case found the NAR and major brokerages guilty of a conspiracy to inflate those very fees. We're talking about a $1.8 billion damage award. This case effectively broke the back of the old real estate model. In 2026, the mandatory 6% commission is dead, but it took a federal jury to prove that the industry was working together to keep the cost of selling your home artificially high. And if you think the bottom of the market is safer, look at the auctions. The DOJ has recently secured dozens of guilty pleas from real estate investors who were caught bid rigging at public foreclosures. Instead of competing to buy distressed properties, these professionals allegedly conspired to not bid against each other, designate a winner in secret, and then split the profits. They weren't just buying homes, they were suppressing competition to steal equity from the most vulnerable homeowners. When you combine algorithmic rent fixing, commission conspiracies, and auction rigging, the explained truth is simple. You aren't failing at the game of real estate, you are playing a game where the referees and the other players have been in a huddle since before you even stepped onto the field. This is why the housing extinction is happening. The system has been optimized to extract your wealth, not to provide you a home. I want to know your strategy for 2026. Are you going to keep saving for a starter home that might not exist? Or are you looking at these new hubs? Drop a comment and let's hear your views. You might just help someone out there.